We hope you enjoy the season premiere of Cardinals Insider. We're so glad to have baseball back on the field. Our staff is currently hard at work in Jupiter, so be sure to join us next week for lots of great stories from Big League Camp.
Go Cardinals!
Coming up on Cardinals Insider, take a tour of the Cardinals clubhouse with former pitcher Kyle McMillan.
We're going to give you some behind the scenes and show you what the guys are going through on a daily basis. So come on, let's check it out.
Plus, Hrabosky tells stories from his 5 decades in the majors.
I locked into an emulator. How can you emulate? But some of his tenacity and some of the competitiveness, those are things I could take from Gibby.
And later,
back and he's got it. Skip Schumaker.
Relive moments from the playing career of new bench coach Skip Schumaker. All that and more ahead on Cardinals Insider. Welcome to the 7th season premiere of Cardinals Insider. I'm your host, Ozzie Smith. It's so good to be back with you again. We're in the home clubhouse here at Busch Stadium, and this room has hosted many All-Stars, MVPs, and Cy Young winners since the ballpark opened in 2006. Let's kick off this season with a tour of the space guided by St. Louisan and 2011 world champ Kyle McMillan.
Hey Cardinals fans, my name is Kyle McMillan. I am a former pitcher, was here in 2008 to 2012, was a part of the 2011 World Series team, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of the St. Louis Cardinals locker room. We're going to give you some behind the scenes and show you what the guys are going through on a daily basis. So come on, let's check it out. All right, so welcome to the locker room. This is where everybody's hanging out throughout the day. This is where all their lockers are. Most of the time is spent right here. Now, what you're going to see is the way that the guys are set up. You're going to have a lot of your relievers on this side of the room, your position players over here, and your starters on the back side. And if you also look, you'll see that the more veteran players are going to have those corner lockers. For whatever reason, that's always been something that guys have. They don't have somebody to the other side of them. And every once in a while, they'll have an empty locker next to them as well. So the more time you have, the more space you get in this area. But you'll notice up here, you'll notice the banners of the World Series champions. You'll notice the retired numbers they have up here. Everything the Cardinals do is celebrating their history and remembering that history. And so this is a way that the current players are going to get a glimpse as they're in here every day of the people that have come before them and the teams that have come before them. Something that every team wants to experience in here is a champagne celebration. And right over my shoulder, you'll see that 2011. That's my biggest highlight in this locker room, is celebrating that 2011 World Series here with all my teammates. Right here in this locker room is where that champagne celebration happened. And hopefully every team that walks in here is going to have an opportunity for that celebration as well. So right off the locker room is the Players Lounge and Cafeteria. So this is where guys come in. They're going to get lunch when they get here. They're going to have dinner after the game. If it's a day game, they're going to come in here and have breakfast. So after batting practice, you got snacks. Everything that they need here to make sure that they're fed and ready for the game is going to happen in here. Over the years, it's gotten better and better. You got chefs in here. The meals have gotten better and better. But this is a great place where guys are hanging out, getting their nutrition, and also some great conversations are had in this room as well. All right, so just down the hall, this is the training room. So this is where a lot of guys spend a lot of time getting ready. It used to be a place where you only came if you were injured. Now it's a place that everybody comes every day to prevent those injuries and to get themselves ready to get on the field. So you'll see the tables behind me here where they're getting stretched every day, they're getting their tape put on, whatever it is before the game. This is a place that you'll see the pitchers come in here and do their arm work. Whatever it is, whatever kind of work they need, they're going to be in here. But almost every player is in here every day, visiting with the training staff. This is a huge piece of making sure the guys are ready every day when they go on the field. All right, so all the way down the hall, this is the weight room. This is going to be a busy place. Guys are in here all the time getting ready. Guys are lifting actually before games, before they go out there. They're getting the lift in. Some guys will lift after the games, but everybody has their own routine. They're coming in here. They might just get on the treadmill or the bike before the game. Other guys are lifting weights and really trying to put on some muscle. So this is a place very busy, just like the training room. Guys are coming in here every day doing something here in the weight room. All right, so now we're in the video room. This video room is not very far from the dugout. So players can come in after an at-bat, after an inning, and they can watch on these computers the video guys can throw it up here on the screen for them, so they can watch their at-bat, they can watch their inning, and see the things that they want to be looking for. You also have games up here, so you can come in before the game and be watching the starting pitcher or watching hitters from the other team that you're going to be facing, and just kind of be familiar with them. Other games that are going on throughout the day, but this is kind of a relaxing area where guys will come in and just kind of cram before the game, get that film study in, and be ready for the game. Well, now we are in the batting cage. This is right behind the Cardinals dugout. A lot of activity in here before the games, before batting practice on the field, but also during the game. If you're a pinch hitter and it's the 7th inning and you think you might be coming up in the 8th or 9th inning, they're gonna have a coach down in here. You can come down here, get some swings, watch the game on TV and see what's going on. And when your time's ready, you're gonna be ready to go because you've been down here getting your swings in. So a lot of time spent down here by the position players, not so much by the pitchers, but position players are in here all the time. Well, welcome to the St. Louis Cardinals home dugout. This is where all the guys are at during the game. You got the phones right behind me where they can reach the bullpen. This is a special place right here during the game. One of the great things I always loved about it is the fans. They're right there. You can hear them, you can feel them. This is a great place to be here at Busch Stadium, and no better seat than right here in the Cardinals dugout. Well, this concludes our tour here today. Thank you so much for spending your day with us. Hope you enjoyed your special access here behind the scenes of the St. Louis Cardinals and their locker room. I hope you have a great day.
Straight ahead on Cardinals Insider.
And Grody's, and Lou would steal a base and everything, and no big deal, but he'd come up the next time. I got one, I got a couple more coming your way.
The Mad Hungarian talks about his journey through baseball.
Back with a vengeance, back on the grinds, back to the business. I get to the bag with the quickness, no, I don't need no assistance. Oh, yeah. I gotta get it, don't mindset. I gotta get it, don't mindset.
The Cardinals Insider podcast is back for the 2022 season with a new look and feel. The monthly show will still be available wherever you get your podcasts, but now you'll be able to watch full episodes on YouTube. They release on the first of each month beginning this April. Here's some highlights from the season premiere with guest Hrabosky.
So you were drafted by the Cardinals in 1969, played 8 years with us, and between then and now, I think is 52 years since you were drafted, and 45 of those 52 years, you have been either playing or broadcasting for the Cardinals. 45 out of the last 52 years.
I was drafted number 1 by the Cardinals. Once I did sign with the Cardinals did make an appearance out against the Dodgers, and they invited me out to the game, and I actually sat in the game with Bing Devine, who was the general manager, George Sylvie, who was the scouting director, and they kind of glossed over this third person. Well, the other guy was a guy named Stan Musial. Lou would just walk up to the plate and say, "Brody, I've got 3 against you today. I'm going to get you, Brody." And you could just see the veins popping and Grody's, and Lou would he'd steal a base and everything, and no big deal, but he'd come up the next time. I got one, I got a couple more coming your way. And, Gibby was the guy that I locked into and emulated, how can you emulate, but some of his tenacity and some of the competitiveness, those are things I could take from Gibby. Teddy just comes out of his stance and just pops Madlock, just hits Madlock. Look like a chicken with my head cut off because I run the home plate, kind of seeing if I can, break this up here and then breaks up over here, and I'm running back and forth and I'm running back and forth. Back then, we didn't get thrown out of games. You didn't have fights, you didn't get thrown out of the game. So I got out of the top of the 9th, and all I remember is Simmons got the game-winning hit as he normally did.
Straight ahead, a look at what makes Whitey Herzog one of the greatest managers of all time. Stay with us.
We back again. I'm bouncing up before they count to 10. We back again. Tell your mother, brother, sister, and your friends. We back again. We back again.
It's been 40 years since the 1982 team captured the club's 9th World Championship. It was my first year here in St. Louis. My longtime manager and friend, Whitey Herzog, brought me over in a trade with the Padres. And throughout the 80s, Whitey repeatedly pulled the right strings. Those moves make him a legendary figure in Cards history. Our Emily Stevens has more.
It's time for a Cardinals Legends profile. Darrell Norman Elvert Herzog managed the Cardinals for just over a decade. And what a decade it was. Some like to say baseball in St. Louis was reborn in the 80s, thanks to the White Rat. While the nickname may sound strange to some, to St. Louis, it was an honor. Whitey had extensive background in player development and built his team, a group later referred to as the Rat Pack. Fans quickly fell in love with the team's style of play known as Whitey Ball, primarily focusing on pitching speed and defense. Whitey Ball was known for excitement that turned into winning, eventually defining one of the greatest eras in Cards history.
Whitey was probably as aggressive and creative with defensive shifting as anybody I know. He kept his own personal spray charts. So I'd watch this man show up the park with his bag and his colors and his ruler and his papers. Finally, one day, late in my career, I just asked him, "What are you doing?" And he showed me, explained to me. I thought he was just coloring.
Whitey was always 3 steps ahead of the other dugout, widely known as one of the best minds in baseball history. That baseball IQ won him National League Manager of the Year in 1985. For a time, he even served as both manager and general manager of the club, a rare feat in the modern era. But Gussie Busch allowed Whitey to build the club he would manage.
A swing and a miss, and that's a winner! A World Series winner for the Cardinals!
In 1982, the Cardinals won the World Series for the first time in 15 years. 1982 was a season to celebrate. It was a magical year full of backflips, elite pitching, powder blue jerseys, and a style of baseball that you just don't see anymore. The Cardinals retired number 24, and Whitey headed to Cooperstown in 2010.
Being elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, is like going to heaven before you die.
He's been a player, a manager, a GM, and the White Rat. And to St. Louis, he will forever be a Cardinals legend. For more Cardinals history, visit the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum inside Ballpark Village. Plan your visit at cardinals.com/museum.
After the break,
At the wall, and it's gone. Skip Schumaker, his first home run this year.
he was a fan favorite as a player, and he's joining the Cards dugout once again. We remember top moments from Skip Schumaker's first go-around with the Cardinals. That's when we return. Skip Schumaker is a new Cardinals bench coach, but he's not new to the Cardinals. He played 8 seasons in St. Louis, winning rings in 06 and 11. And now he returns after 4 seasons as the Padres' associate manager. Here's a look back at Skip's first ride with the Cardinals in this week's Redbird Reels.
Waking up when everyone is sleeping in, doing the work when no one will.
Schumaker with a high fly ball in a deep right field. At the wall, and it's gone. Skip Schumaker, his first home run this year.
Every day, every sweat, I waited.
Cabrera's thinking 3. Throw by Schumaker. Oh, they got him!
How do they come? How do they fall? Leading out.
Over the head of Schumaker. He's back, and he's got it. Skip Schumaker.
And a line drive down the right field line. Paul will score, and the Cardinals have taken a 1-0 lead.
Hustling in and diving catch. Oh, what a play. Schumaker.
In the air to left, well hit. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
When we return, I'm answering one of your questions. It's Ask Ozzie, and it's up next.
Back with a vengeance, back on the grinds, back to the business. I get to the bag with the quickness, no, I don't need no assistance. I gotta get it, don't mindset. I gotta get it, don't mindset.
It's time for an extended Ask Ozzie. Our own Brett McMillan is serving up the questions today. Brett, what do you have for me?
Well, we got some fun ones here, Ozzie. We got a couple that the fans submitted. We got a couple that us as a staff decided to go with. And this first one comes from Jeff in O'Fallon, Missouri. I'm going to say Jeff is a high school baseball coach. He asked, how did specific situations influence the type of bat that you used?
Well, here again, I've always been asked, do you use different bats? Well, if there's a guy throwing 100 miles an hour, it doesn't take a whole lot. It's just being able to get the bat there and hopefully get it square. I'm not necessarily trying to pull the ball on a guy who throws 100 miles an hour. So, I'm trying to just square it up and hit the ball hard the other way. As a hitter, you just want to hit the ball hard somewhere, and especially when you have men in scoring position. You don't want to strike out. You want to make sure you put the ball in play. And when there was a guy throwing hard, and I look for a pitch out over the plate from the middle of the plate away and try and drive the ball the other way.
Whitey loves to tell those stories about you hitting the ball on the ground and going to get your $3 from his office at the end of the night. So when you were trying to do that, say it's a guy with kind of average, quote unquote, big league stuff, the normal guy on a normal night, what weight were you using on the bat and what kind of length were you using?
Well, generally the bat that I used the most consistently was probably about 31, 32 ounces. On occasion, when you felt good and you were rested, you could use a 34, 35 ounce bat, which was going to give you a harder wood. And most guys, we used in batting practice, we used real heavy bats in batting practice so that you could get your timing, and when the game started, you were a little bit quicker.
Good question, Jeff. Thanks so much for submitting that one. Here's one from Gregory. He's in Decatur, Illinois. Gregory wants to know, what's the craziest thing a fan ever gave you? I assume to autograph, but take it where you will.
I have to be careful with this, Brett. I guess, playing here in St. Louis, you find that there's some very talented people that are wood carvers and so forth and so on. And I've had carvings of myself out of wood. That's probably the most unusual. I had a bat that was where my face and likeness was carved into the wood. So that's a pretty unique, very unique piece that I still have.
How many of those types of things do you think you have at your home still?
Too many to count, because people here in this part of the country, they love their Cardinal baseball, and they feel a part of it, so that's their way of being able to feel a part of it and feel special, and there's something that they can talk about, he has, or I gave Ozzie a special this or that, and it's nice.
Thank you, Gregory, for that question. So now we get into some staff ones. This is our group came up with these ones, things we want to know. Now, whether you're in Florida, here in St. Louis, or somewhere else, you love a good round of golf. Who's the best round of golf you've ever played with?
Well, I got a chance to play in Tahoe for 11 years. And I had no idea when I was paired with this guy, my first time there, Mark Mulder. Mark Mulder is a very good golfer. I've had a chance to play with Joe Buck, who's a decent golfer as well. And most of the guys that have the opportunity to play in Tahoe are pretty good golfers, So the greatest golfer I ever played with, I got a chance to play with Jack Nicklaus. I've gotten a chance to play with Tom Watson, Annika Sorenstam, David Duval. Through golf, I've had an opportunity to witness some great ones pretty close up, and I'd have to say from a golfing standpoint, having to play with Tom and Mr. Nicklaus in the same foursome with Mr. Berube it's probably the highlight.
Thanks, Ozzie. If you want to submit a question, head on over to cardinals.com/insider. Click on that Ask Ozzie tab. He'll answer one in an upcoming episode.
Thanks, Brett. We'll head to a break real soon, but before we do that, Emily Stevens has this week's trivia question. Emily?
Thanks, Ozzie. For this week's trivia question, we head to sunny Florida and ask, what year did the Cardinals move from St. Petersburg to Jupiter? Hear the answer when we return.
We're back with the answer to our trivia question. For that, we bring in Emily Stevens.
Thanks, Ozzie. We asked what year the Cardinals began training at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. The answer is 1998. The Cardinals came from Florida's west coast in St. Pete, where the training facility and Al Lang Field were in separate locations. In Jupiter, they have one unified location, featuring backfields, training facilities, and the main ballpark. All of this is in a development called Abacoa within the city of Jupiter. The Cards used to share the facility with the Montreal Expos. That franchise is now the Washington Nationals and shares a spring training facility with the Houston Astros, just down the coast in West Palm Beach. Since 2003, the Marlins have been the Cardinals' complex mate.
Well hit the center. This one back.
The facilities in Jupiter serve several other functions outside hosting big league spring training. The Low-A Palm Beach Cardinals play their home games at Roger Dean, plus some of the club player development staff office in Florida full-time. And of course, Fantasy Camp is also a staple in Jupiter.
Thanks, Emily. That's today's show. We're excited to be back with you each week on this very station. In the meantime, watch more of our content on YouTube or cardinals.com/insider. And for everybody involved with the show, I'm Ozzie Smith, and we'll see you next week.